Hi guys, welcome to the live stream. We got PapiMento, we got Tomasz, and we got, of course, Yaiderenko. You guys know all the crew. Welcome. International break. It was quiet, guys. Not a lot of news, but we still have stuff to talk about. Previously, we always talked about the organization, about James Ward, the technical director, the new chairman of the supervisory board. We covered all these kind of things. Now, today, I feel like we have to talk more about where we stand going into the final games of the season. Are we a little bit more positive and optimistic after losing to, I cannot say the name of the team, but you know who I mean, and which team I mean. And and we're going to cover the questions of the followers and the viewers of the stream of our channel as well. Thank you for submitting your questions and remarks as well. We will cover as much as possible, but we will more look at the questions that were raised about maybe the squad or our chances throughout the season. So we will go over there. But of course, it doesn't mean you cannot drop a comment or share your questions live as well. We will try to cover that as well. Guys, I'm excited. Thank you for being here. Eredivisie is going to start again. For me, international break is always like, if it's not a World Cup or a European Cup, honestly, I don't care that much, you know? I don't know if you guys have the same feeling.
You obviously do not live in Poland. We conceded 2 goals in 2 minutes, in the first 2 minutes against Czech Republic. So you can imagine the amount of banter at our place. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, that's not the topic.
Well, we didn't do that well either against France last week. So let's not talk about that. So, okay. Guys, before we start, good news, or actually festive news. PapiMento, happy birthday, bro.
Oh, yeah, thanks, man.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to
Thanks.
You, man.
So, see, I don't even during my birthday, I come to weTalk. So
exactly. I wanted to say that.
That's how special, right?
Yeah, I have to share this with everyone. So a few days ago, I'm like, Papi, are you sure you want to join the live stream? It's your birthday, you know, and we're not going through a nice phase and all these kind of things. And he's like, I don't care, man. I just want to talk about Ajax. I was like, okay, fine. It's all good.
Let's do it.
So here he is. All right. Guys, before we start with the questionings, right? A general question from my side to you guys. So it's been a while now. We know where we stand. We know what we have to do. There was also heitinga coming up with a brief interview on Ajax TV the other day and saying that we're still going to go fighting each game and we'll see at the end where we are, etc., etc. That's the nice version of a coach. The fans, us, you know, we're like, can we still make it, guys? Can we still make it? We're hoping, but not everybody is hoping. Some people are saying we should be worried about second place. I just want to go quickly around, start with Yaiderenko, go to Tomasz, and go to Papi. Looking right now, we had a few days to digest everything, more than a week. Where do you stand, Yaiderenko, in terms of our positioning in the Eredivisie and the end of the season coming up?
I think we're on the second place.
Okay, so
Wow.
So that's where I'm standing.
Yeah.
All right. And looking into the next games?
I think number 2 shouldn't be a problem. Okay. However, we still have PSV away, but I don't, even with that game coming up, I don't think PSV is going to win everything. And I just think that the difference between Ajax and the rest, and I'm not naming AZ and Twente because those games can be tricky as well, but the other ones should be all wins. And then it just hangs on the form of the day in the bigger games, especially I think PSV and Twente away at the last day could be a decider for either the title or either the second place.
All right, clear. What about our form? Quickly on the form, is this something you look at, or is it like it comes and it goes? It's not really something. It's not tangible for you.
No, I think it's going better. Only what we see is in 3 bigger games we only had 1 draw and 2 losses. So that's they need to up the ante on that part. So they have to prove that against AZ and against PSV, especially against PSV away. Yeah.
All right.
It's half as bad, if not less, as with Schroeder.
All right, Thomas, what's your view on
Yeah, so that's not a high bar, is it? So basically, yeah, wow, yes, we have some news. We know now that heitinga is no messiah and he cannot achieve anything. At least, well, I know we knew that that wasn't the case in Europa, and now we know it's not the case in the eredivisie right now. All in all, right now, if I have to choose what is bigger of a thing for me, I would more worry about our second place than hope for the championship. That's how the things stand, unfortunately, which is bloody awful. And yeah, this is how I feel about it, because this is absolutely unbearable. And our fierce rivals being on their course to win the championship is. There are no words to describe this, actually, because
you don't have to describe it, because all your negativity made you look red now.
Yeah, I know. It's no coincidence. Maybe a cheap joke, but regardless. Anyways, what I mean is, okay. The Classica, I wouldn't say it reflects our form currently. I mean, first of all, they have a manager who can react, who is way more experienced than heitinga, and yeah, we got outplayed after the break. And also, I guess that some of our players weren't strong here enough, and this is what made us lose that game. Yeah, lose it. Yeah, so basically, all in all, I'm quite. No, I cannot be positive. I'm pissed. But regarding the second place. Yeah, I pretty much echo Yaiderenko's emotions on that. I think we should be fine. Still, I am a bit worried. We are yet to win a big game this season. So this is something that might be stuck in the minds of our players, and I'm pretty. Yeah, this is something of a concern.
Okay. All right. We will definitely touch more and go more deeply on these kind of things because there are a lot of questions also resonating or relating to what we just spoke about. Papi, birthday boy, what's your view? What's up?
My view is we should be happy if we... No, look, I think number one spot is out of our reach. I don't think Feyenoord will lose 3 games. I think Ajax will definitely lose one of their 8 games. Yeah, 2, but if you consider Ajax losing 1, then it's going to be 3 games that Feyenoord has to lose, right? So that's why I said 3. So we should be happy if we end up second. Look, the game plan is set for every opponent that faces Ajax. We cannot build up when we're pressed. So that is going to be the coming weeks. That's going to be our issue against bigger teams like, okay, PSV, AZ. They're struggling as well. But if they press us like Feyenoord, we can have a lot of problems with our build-up and they can hurt us. So I don't see that changing anytime soon, just because of the lack of the quality we have in the back positions, and as well, you know, in our central defense positions. So for me, I'm happy if we just finish the second place, get this season over with, and have a great transfer window, because this season has been a roller coaster, Juan. And to be honest, under Schreuder, I was kind of like tired of watching Ajax, but with heitinga, it really came back. And I think, you know, we cannot blame heitinga for what happened in Feyenoord. I think the quality he has doesn't help any coach. And I think even Slot would have had problems with the players we have. So yeah. I don't blame that on heitinga whatsoever.
But obviously it's not heitinga's fault and so on. But I get the sentiment that he's being like whitewashed after the game. No, we should have done better, considering our form and considering what we have. I'm not. Let's just say heitinga wasn't faultless at that game. Yeah, let's just. I want this to go out there. He's not perfect. He has a lot of things to.
So
to
you're
improve on.
blaming. Wait. So you're blaming heitinga for Bassie's performance?
No,
You're blaming
well,
him
partially
that he is
maybe.
forced.
Partially,
He's forced
yes.
to play Sanchez. Wait. He's forced to play Sanchez while Wrench usually played there. But the drop on the ball is immense compared to the two players. So you cannot tell me that he's limited in how he wants to play. And he also said it before. The way Ajax wants to play is the hardest game there is. But also, it's harder if you do it with people that don't know how to control a ball or pass a ball to the same color. So you cannot only blame a coach on that.
I'm far from it. I'm far from it. I'm not blaming just him. I'm just saying we cannot ignore that the fact that he did some things wrong as well. I mean, we can all have difficulties remembering it. Yeah, but we were winning at one point during this game. Yeah, and the first half and the second half looked a bit different, to say the least. So I guess there is something. I'm not saying I exactly know what exactly should have been done in a different way. I would have been our manager at that point, which would be absolutely terrible. Still, yeah. I guess it's not only it's mainly our previous manager's fault that he led to the point where are we at. But I wouldn't say we couldn't have done better. Also, you mentioned Bassi being terrible on the ball, but somehow we never came up with a plan to to try to
change it around,
build up in a different way. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of the midfielders should have gone deeper more often. Whatever. We always try the very same thing, and never. Well, after the break, we changed our formation. Fine. Didn't work, but at least that was a sort of a reaction. But regardless, I would say that heitinga is not faultless. Yeah, he is doing fine. I'm backing him. I want him to be our manager next year. Do not get me wrong here, but I wouldn't say it's just everything out of his control in that regard.
Okay, clear message. Yaiderenko, I think you also wanted to react.
Yeah, but it's not an excuse, totally not. But let's not forget the terrible refereeing in the first half, especially because they should have stood with 9 players, and lately this is happening more and more often on an international scale, in my opinion, where both the ref and the VAR make terrible decisions. It's really strange what's going on, because I cannot put my finger on it. But I think it's really strange that people who are only looking at the screen for 90 minutes cannot do that well.
Yeah. Look, the way I see it, guys, quickly, my reaction on what we're discussing right now. If we're looking at the Feyenoord game and also, looking at whether heitinga can do more, I feel like I'm not gonna sugarcoat the fact that we didn't play well, especially the second half. Not good. Let's be honest. I do agree with what Yaiderenko said. The refereeing was not on our side, to say the least. The only thing I also want to say, I also agree, PapiMento. This team, heitinga inherited a team that was basically mentally broken because of Schreuder, and we were 5th at that time, and he made sure we won, I think, 7 games in a row. Not all of them were spectacular football, but we still managed to get that winning mentality back, at least in the eredivisie, to fight off Feyenoord for the first place position. We had the chance to go there. It didn't succeed, but still, we didn't play well. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. But at the end of the day, the margins were really small. Even though we were not good in the second half, that Kudus shot, if the keeper had a very good save, we still could have won that game. So it's very dramatic how the result is for us at the moment. It is. But it's not black and white, in my opinion. I think that's probably the worst game we played under heitinga, especially in the second half.
But the only thing, Juan, I want to say is it just hurts as an Ajax side that in the second half they were better on the ball, building up, staying on the ball, forcing us to get out of our position so they can move forward.
No,
they were
honestly,
so controlled on the ball, and that's what we should be doing.
No, honestly, that's yes.
And they played in Europa midweek, not us.
Exactly. I wanted to say that. That's one part. The thing that is actually shocking is that they look fitter than we did, and they played like a few days before us. So, okay. So let's move on from the Feyenoord game. Let's go over the questions that we received. Okay, so I will start with the first one. But before I do, just quickly, because our thumbnail is "It Ain't Over," just to explain why the thumbnail is "It Ain't Over." The season is not over, even though mentally, we lost, and the first place seems like a mile away. We still are playing 8 games. We still are in the KNVB Beker. We still can make it a nice season. And let's be honest, guys. Even though of course, we're Ajax fans. We're the best. We think we're the best of the country.
We know
we're the best of the country.
Yeah, we are.
But if you don't get first place, it's very important we at least get a second place for obvious reasons. I'm not gonna say it, but you guys know why. Okay, so we had a Twitter poll. We asked the guys on Twitter, what do you guys think? I think a lot of non-Ajax fans also voted because we had a lot of voting here. So more than 2,000. Thank you for the votes. And unfortunately, we said in the poll, like, we still will win the league. It ain't over. So we exaggerated a little bit, but no, the fans didn't buy it. They said 24% said yes, we can still make it. 76% said no way. So yeah, that's the current, the current mentality right now, or how people feel about what's going on with Ajax. But it can change, guys. It can change. You never know. And I'm not going to talk about Feyenoord right now. Let's talk about Ajax. Let's focus on that. So the first question that we got is from a viewer on YouTube. Yeah, it's basically the same question. Let me ask it to you guys. I don't know if you guys voted, but if you don't, you can say why. You said yes or no. Regarding the chances of winning the league this season, where do you stand? So we already covered that a little bit. So just give me like a number, a percentage. Yaiderenko.
50-50.
50-50, we can become champions still?
You either become champion or you don't.
All right.
Yeah, so I have a 50% chance of becoming the next Ajax CEO because I don't want to, and Ajax doesn't. So
Exactly.
It's 50-50.
Fact. Fact.
Yeah, but considering, I guess it's my turn. So yeah, I'd say we have like a 5% chance of getting the title, maybe.
10%, something like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, same. 10%. It's not in our hands, Juan. So just expecting the other team that's number one to lose 3 games.
But
It's not gonna happen.
they have some injuries. They have European games, and in Dutch we say Trump,
Anything can happen.
trust comes by feet and goes by horse. So it can come crashing down really, really fast. If they lose, they can have.
But Yaiderenko, did you see the
No.
opponents of Feyenoord in the eredivisie?
That doesn't.
No.
No.
Sparta might be one of the toughest ones, but if you look at Excelsior, Cambuur,
Sure.
I'm like, really, even with their bench players, they should be able to
But
win.
do you remember that Ajax was how much was it? 14 points behind with.
Yeah, I remember that season. Was that with
It
AZ,
was-
I think, was it?
Yeah, I believe it was.
No, wait. Wasn't
That's
that
Twente.
wasn't with
Was
Bos,
it Twente?
the Bos season? Wasn't it with the Bos season after the first half we were like more than 10 points behind?
No, it was under the Boer.
Yeah.
Under the Boer.
But even with Bos, we were like trailing by a lot of points, and we came close to 1 point at the end. So it was
So it was
very
terrible after all.
well, okay.
Well,
All right. Let's skip that.
the
Okay,
Europa
so-
League final did a lot.
No, it's still terrible for me. But yeah, but that's not the topic.
All right, so could Feyenoord? So a question from Peer from Twitter. Thank you for that. He said, so this is basically what we're talking about. Could Feyenoord still choke their lead? Look, like you guys already mentioned, they're still playing Europa. They have to play against Roma twice. I think they have an injury situation with Gertruida.
Dutch
or
Cup
not.
next week.
And Trauner.
And Trauner came back, right? Or did he get injured
Yeah,
again?
but it's not sure that he will play on in this weekend. I don't know what the current status is, but
Okay.
last I heard, it's question mark. So they could miss their whole center.
Yeah, but the thing is, we come back to the whole situation of we're looking at Feyenoord, whether they can choke, yes or no. But like PapiMento already said before, that's one thing. But do you see us winning the remaining 8 in the eredivisie against, like you said, Yaiderenko, AZ, PSV, Twente?
Normally
these
not.
tricky games.
Normally not.
Okay, all right.
I would say it's not impossible, but regarding our rivals, you have to remember, regardless of their injuries and so on, they have shown so much determination this season. They're such a well-organized team, even if they're not as impressive as some might claim. I mean, football-wise, clearly, yeah, but they're very consistent. They remind me very often of the of Twente's championship season, and for me, it's very difficult to imagine them dropping enough points to for us to be even close.
But
yeah,
Thomas,
but I will
Thomas,
be very glad to be mistaken.
But Thomas, come on, they're doing really well for their capacity. But look at the games. Gameplay isn't always great. The way they win is marginally, mostly on the last moment.
And it works all the time almost. Why would it stop working now?
Imagine a little bit of bad luck and a little bit of insecurity and a little bit of championship stress. Who knows? Yeah, who knows? We've seen. I think we've seen stranger things, but we will see. They're not big. The chances are not big, but they are there, and it can have an effect if, for instance, Ajax or Feyenoord loses the next 2 games, then I think Ajax has more likelihood to win all the other games than if they win by a big margin. If you know what I'm getting at, it can have a motivating
snowball.
Yeah, guys, I want to go over the comments of our viewers just quickly. So, Murder Inc. Very confident, saying we will be number 1. A lot of happy birthdays wishes to you, PapiMento. Again, happy birthday.
Thank you for the birthday wishes, guys. Thanks.
I have a comment of Ahmed Edman. Thank you for that. In any case, fighting for the title or the second spot, we have to play each game of the upcoming 8 games as a final. I think we can judge heitinga only for this 8 battles. So basically, you guys covered that as well. Thank you for that. Brian, a regular usually. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comment. He's saying they want to hurt us so bad because this is the moment to do it. So we were talking about, before Feyenoord and all these kind of things. So let me see. What else do we have? Rick from Australia. Morning, folks. Happy birthday, Papi. Again, prime time kickoff this Sunday for once. Australian time. That's good for him. Let's see. What else do we have? Jake, I sincerely hope we score a good goal. I'm sorry. I sincerely hope we score a goal against Go Ahead Eagles quickly. The last 3 times we played against them, they played really defensively and it was effective. Yeah. It's not an easy game. Like 12-15 also, I think. 12-15? 12-30? Yaiderenko, do you know, Papi? 12-15, right?
This
time of play?
This
Sunday? I guess we're playing. Yeah, I guess we're playing the early game, which is not always the best. So, yeah, it's a good point. Roy,
Juan,
it's so humiliating to even consider this a factor for a team like us.
Yeah, just let me quick finish the comments, guys. Roy, Mr. Salt, everybody knows him. It's done, boys. We don't have big game players that make a difference and too many players that just aren't good enough. Actually, this is something we will touch upon in a bit as well, looking at our current squad. Let's see. Second place is most important from Jake. We need Champions League, obviously. Yes, good point. Let's see. What else do we have? Kans is saying Feyenoord lost for the last time in October or November or something. That's also yeah. I mean, these are facts.
So the moment they lose comes closer and closer.
You can look at that way as well. You have you have a very distinctive way of looking at things, Yaiderenko.
Yeah, but you can always turn it. So
true.
Juan, you're right. It's 12:15 this Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just wanted to say he's not here today, but our friend Ajax thinks we'll win every game from now on. So
yeah, so Brian, quickly on that last comment for now. Brian said, "I know Ajax could eat us right now, but becoming Champions League is very minimum." So yeah, Ajax is very positive still. He thinks all the other teams, he's been saying that for weeks, is garbage. And if we're we don't even have to be 100%, according to him, to win our games. So he's very, very positive. So yeah, that's it. Guys, I wanted to touch upon the next questions that we got. It's basically more about our squad. So we talked about Feyenoord, we talked about our position, we look back at the game against Feyenoord, all these kind of things, the fixtures. But I want to talk more about the following. So looking at the current players, right, that we have in this team. We already touched upon the fact that we had Schreuder, now we have heitinga. And like Tomasz said, heitinga is not a messiah. You know, he did a very good job up to this point, but there's still a couple of things that he cannot solve. And probably it has to do with our team. If you guys agree, yes or no. But I will ask you guys, if you look at our current team, and even if you look at the team that we have and the youth that is coming, you know, for this season, next season, you know, the ones that are close to the first team, how do you rate our quality? Can we do well next season, not only domestically, but also in Europe? Or do you think we really need an overhaul this summer? Let me start with Papi.
Juan, I mean, look, we know that we might lose Timber, Edson Alvarez, and Kudus. Those are our best players. So considering they will leave, then yeah, we need specific key players. We cannot handle another summer like we did last time, because that was really horrible in the quality players we got. I do think there are some youth players that are coming up that can be very useful for us, like Hato, Misui, Vos. Those are players I think
next season, already next season.
Maybe not as starters, but they could help coming off the bench, definitely. Okay. Hato, we already seen coming off the bench, and so he might get more minutes next season. But we need specific players that can bring that extra quality, and that's something we can only get from outside, because that's not something we have here. And this is going to be a very critical transfer window, because this is going to decide how our season is going to go. And I don't think we can have another season like we did this season. So I hope they do a better job. And we're still waiting for that sporting director, that technical manager that's going to fix everything. So,
yeah. Tomasz, about this, right? I want to ask your opinion as well. But also I want to add to the mix. Do you feel, compared to last season, you know, like we lost so many players, and of course it's very hard to keep the same quality, you know, that we had last season. Also, the manager left and Hag left, etc. But do you feel like this summer is going to become even more difficult, because we've seen this season basically that we've regressed a little bit in terms, you know what I mean? So
a little bit.
We lost the players last season. You know, and we needed to sign players, but now it seems like this summer is even more important than last summer.
Well, the whole thing is like a gigantic question mark for me, because I strongly believe that the whole team, is, at least to some extent, when it comes to each player, the whole team is paying the Schreuder tax, as I like to call it, because I don't think we've seen the full quality of our squad. I strongly believe that we have enough quality to win the league with what we have right now.
Okay.
I truly believe that. But anyways, we have pardon my language, but a shitload of questions, to be honest. Will Bergwijn wake up? Will Bassi be able to reach his price tag? Because, well, crucify me for this, but I've seen glimpses of quality from him. Sometimes on the left side, sometimes, we just need his strength and so on. What else? Do we actually have fullbacks? Because Wijndal and Rensch, I've seen them play good once or twice maybe, but still. So they can do it, but are they going to be able to do it long term? Also, I know, how does Kaplan look like, for example? Yeah, that's another big question. Who is this guy? I'm not blaming him, obviously, because it's not his fault that he got injured. But still. So we have a load of question marks. And the issue here is that during the transfer window, if you want to get some players in, we need to offload some guys as well. Obviously, Edson, Timber, and Kudus are the three people who are going to leave. If they're going to leave, then against the fan base's will, obviously. But if we want to make place for more players, we won't be able to sell anyone without losing a lot of money. Nobody's going to pay half the price we paid for Bergwijn. Who is going to pay 10 million for Bassi? Well, maybe someone from the UK, but yeah, it's going to be tough. So actually, I'm more worried about the let's say the wage bill structure at the moment, because we have a lot of players we paid quite a bit for, and that do not provide enough quality. But on the other hand, if those guys get a proper preseason with an actual manager compared to the previous person at that post, they might shine. And also, considering the wage bill, I guess we've talked this to death with Yaiderenko, especially. The question of how much youth do we use, and I believe that during the previous seasons, it's been very well understandable to bring in external talent, because our level was so high that it was difficult to expect that the youth is going to make an instant impact, and we wanted to progress all the time. So it was only reasonable to get in higher quality players to replace, I don't know, Ziyech. Yeah, you won't have a youngster who's going to replace him right away. But right now, with the quality we have, yeah, I guess this is the moment to really very much focus on the youth again. Yeah, go back to our roots, to what to the whole famous Ajax DNA or our identity or whatever you want to call it. I guess this is something we should look forward to. And I don't know if heitinga is going to stay. I assume he's going to. If he is going to stay, I think he might be the right man right guy to focus on academy players. So yeah, there's that. And considering, I mean, we won't be worse. We'll be better than the last season, obviously. I mean, I can't imagine us getting worse.
That's a low bar.
Yeah, again, but still.
Okay. Well, okay, that's a fair point. Thank you for that. Yaiderenko, what's your view on the whole situation going into next season? I mean, looking at the squad right now, so we're skipping the 8 games now. We already talked about that. So looking at the overall quality of the squad, what we have in the youth, you're always very vocal about that, always has been as well. Looking into the summer, what do we have to do to be competitive next season? And again, I agree a little bit also with Tomasz, what he said, like this team is good enough to win the league. To a certain extent, I agree. But let's not forget also that a team like PSV is underperforming this season. Usually they don't underperform like this. So we have to be wary of that. And the second thing is also, I'm not talking only about domestic performance, but also what can we do in Europe? And yeah, I agree. It cannot be worse than this season, hopefully, but we want to do better. So Yaiderenko, go ahead.
As I said before, I don't think you need to skip the 8 games, because I think it begins right here, or in my opinion, it should have begun already. You need to know, just like what Tomasz said, there is enough quality But you need to know, how's Kaplan? How's Missouri? How is Vos doing? How is Hato doing? How is Regeer doing instead of Sanchez? All those things you need to know. And you need to know how, in what formation we can play our gameplay that we excel in, that we make it difficult for the opponents. What's the formation to do that and to accomplish that? I don't believe in Bergwijn. I don't believe.
And guys, don't forget Salahuddin coming back, and maybe
that's also one thing. In one of the talks before, I ranted a little bit about letting Aning go, letting Salahuddin go, and then buying Wijndal. Come on, you don't have to be a specialist in football to look that's not logical. It's just not a logical policy.
Yeah, but as you say, look, you like the translations in Dutch. This is a little bit, in my opinion, I'm sorry for the language, guys, but this is like they say in Dutch, looking a cow in the ass, right? So the reason why I'm saying that, but the reason why I'm saying this is, let's be honest, Salahuddin was last year, around the summer period, he was still not the old Salahuddin that we know from the youth academy. Let's not forget.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you have a talent like Salahuddin, and you have a problem on the left, and you're going to bring in Baas instead of Salahuddin to test him, then you're doing the wrong thing, because Baas is not going to.
But even Ten Hag was making more use of Baas than Salahuddin. Don't forget, Salahuddin was not at his.
I was never a fan of Ten Hag. So
come on, man.
No,
not a fan of Ten Hag in terms of the youth.
I'm sorry. You've seen all the talks. I've never been really impressed with what he does. I've been always critical to the way he changes and the way he picks his formations and have his favorites. I've never been unclear about that, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that didn't change.
But coming back to what you said, right? Because this is a very important point. I agree with. You have certain players you have not tested, you have not seen yet. At least we haven't seen them yet.
Yeah.
But we don't know if the coach hasn't. I mean, heitinga, like Tomasz said, has a better picture of the players that are playing in the young Ajax because he worked with them, like Regeer, like you mentioned.
Does he?
I think so. Yeah. Of course.
He used Sanchez again. So did that go well? No, it didn't.
That's where I'm going. The thing is, we're playing, as somebody already said, 8 finals. We don't have time to experiment. We have to get those points. We have to secure second place.
Yeah, but if you look at the second half, at the second half against Feyenoord, in my opinion, it's basically very simple. Always when you struggle, it lacks energy, it lacks tempo. So what you need to do, always, not only the last 8 games when you think it's our finals, but what you always need to do is put energy in the game. And if you don't do that, you get problems. And you knew when Feyenoord was behind, you knew Slot would try to repair that and get energy into the game. You know that. And actually, I don't know if heitinga prepared for that or not, but it was really terrible the second half.
But guys, I think you guys also forget the context a little bit. In the beginning of the season, we still had Blind playing left back, okay, and we had Wijndal coming in, which was a captain from AZ, and everybody was convinced that was a good signing, okay. So it was very logical for Salahuddin to. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just saying I was convinced that Wijndal is going to be a good signing.
I was doubting it a lot, but okay. But Salahuddin, it was a logical choice, and I think it's a logical choice for Ajax to loan out their youth player and to get more chances on the pitch and get more game time, because you see their development is correlated with how much they play and how much they learn on the pitch, and not just by training.
But be honest, how is it logical with Ajax? If you look back at all the players that we've lent out, how many players actually were incorporated back into Ajax? Not
but Yaiderenko,
but maybe because we need.
Hold on. Not all of the players that are loaned out are loaned out for sportive reasons. It's usually also commercial or financial reasons, because like the best example is, for instance, Botman. Ajax knew already, Tomasz knew already that it would be difficult to play him with the squad that we had at the time, to play him in the squad, but they saw that he's too good to not, be playing. So he got loaned out, and then he got bought without playing really for the first team. So you have these kind of mixes, but I agree with you. Not all of them are successful, but this also has to do with the choices that they make. Like, for instance, we haven't touched upon Univar for a while now. We know he's in Turkey, but he's not playing a lot. He's not really developing like Salahuddin is playing. And that also has to do with the choices that you make. Which team do you choose to play for? So it's a big risk. It is still a risk.
Yeah.
And like PapiMento, it's very highly correlated with, if you get a lot of minutes, you become better. But of course, at Ajax is never a guarantee that you come back and you can take over. So, yeah. And also, one more thing, like PapiMento said, that's a good point. Daily Blind, was still in our team.
But come on, he had most terrible half year of his career.
No, but I mean in the summer, in the preseason, Yaiderenko, he was still first pick.
But still, you need to test your talents. It doesn't matter if you have a good, experienced or top dog on that position. You have to test because you have to know. And especially near the end of the season, in my opinion, you need to know what you need to do for the next season. Yeah. And if you don't have any data on players, if you don't have any insight how they will perform on the eredivisie or Champions League or whatever, then you're looking at the training. And what's that telling you? That's really hard. So you have to do it, not because I think the youth is better than the players we have. No, you need to know how good the youth or how terrible the youth is, in my opinion. You have to test them, and with that data, you make decisions. And not all the decisions can go well, but that's life.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you all three a question about this, like a very specific recent situation. So the Feyenoord game, alluding back to the Feyenoord game, I want also the viewers to maybe respond from their perspective. We know that there was, a lot of players were not good, but there was one player that was really, really struggling from the back, which is, of course,
Tim Bessie.
I have to think. Bessie was struggling, especially in the build-up. I mean, the first, I think, 10 passes were all like to Feyenoord. But still, Heitinga had a very important choice at the time to make. Either he benches him, he takes him off. You don't know what kind of effect that will have for his confidence level going forward. Or you would take him off and you would put, like, I was questioning why he didn't put Hato in, And again, Hato didn't show a lot this season, but in my opinion, it couldn't be worse than what Bessie was doing in the second half. So in my opinion, Hato should have come in. Is that what you're saying? Is that something you guys would have done if you guys were the coach? Would you put a kid like that in the game, most important game of the season probably, and test him in the second half? Is that what you're saying?
No, you should, in my opinion, you should always test when you're 2 or 3-0 ahead at halftime. When the game or the 3 points are in the pocket, then you should.
But how many times did that happen this season? It didn't happen that often.
Yeah, and also this is not very different from a training session. I mean, it is obviously, but it is not a high intensity scenario at that point. Yeah, you know that I don't know if Bergwijn had his one goal, which happened I don't know how long time ago. He's not going to kill himself to give an assist to I don't know, to Hansen or whoever, whatever. So yeah, this is a.
Does he ever give an assist, Thomas?
That's another story, right?
Plus, there is also something else, and this is something we should know because if we all follow Ajax for a long time, we've always seen there are exceptions, but usually youth, if they brought in a team that functions, it's better for the development. If they come in a team that's struggling, they will not pick up the level of the team. That doesn't happen, right? It's true, right?
That's why Taylor is struggling this season, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Partly. The other reason, my opinion, is why he's struggling is because he's forced to play a position to help the back line with the build up, but this is not his natural position. He's not a 6.
Agreed.
That's
Also,
not-
he might not be as good as we all think.
no, I think
that's
no,
one.
that's too
That's
early.
one.
That's too early.
No,
Sorry?
I think he's correct. I think in these kind of moments, you see the difference between a Taylor kind of talent or Frenkie de Jong. You see it in the moments when it doesn't work. They will pick up the ball literally and show what they're made of. And
Yeah, but guys,
Taylor is
hold on.
not that talent.
No, honestly, look, I understand why Taylor is being, like getting all these negative attention and these kind of things. But let's look at the facts for a minute. He's basically, this is his first season. He's still a very young talent. It's the first full season of his with Schroeder, with the situation with the Ajax team, not balanced. And like I said,
No,
he's being pulled. Wait.
I'm not saying he's not a good talent. Only there's a gradation in
Yeah,
talent.
but hold on.
He is not that big of a talent,
Okay, but hold on.
in my opinion.
Hold on.
But
So-
he can still be useful for Ajax.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely,
100%. And one more thing, what he has been asked to do now is actually exactly the same as what Gravenberg was asked to do last season, and that also affected Gravenberg in his play going forward. He has to pick the ball up from way deep to progress the ball.
And this is why I always say, just always try to have the same intention, same tactic, same gameplay. Get good in that specific gameplay. So the only thing you have to do is to get in that gameplay, and then you play a good game.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say, but I got interrupted a couple of times, which is fine because it's a heated discussion and it's all the same. These things happen. Just to be clear, before I get a feedback from you guys, yeah, but how can you compare, Taylor with Frenkie or De Ligt or these kind of things? I'm not comparing in terms of the level, but I just want to say that Frenkie de Jong once was used as a center defender against a game against PSV by Ten Hag. That went horribly wrong. Danny Blind was the coach of the Dutch team, and he made De Ligt made his debut against Italy. We played against Luca Toni, if I'm not mistaken, or something. And De Ligt, that was probably his most horrible debut ever. Although we knew that De Ligt was very good at Ajax. So I'm just saying,
wasn't it against Bulgaria?
Yeah,
No.
it was.
Was it Bulgaria? No, man.
Yes, because he conceded against Spas Delev, who is a player of Pogoń Szczecin, a team from my city, which is absolutely mental that such a player was able to score against an Ajax defender.
Italy? I thought he played against Italy and he had problems with that. Anyways,
No, Bulgaria for sure.
It's a long time ago. The only thing I want to say is don't be like we sometimes forget that these youth players coming up, they need more time. And this year is not a normal season. I mean, look at how it affected us,
But you can. I totally understand what you mean, and you're right. However, look at the Champions League final of '95, where Ajax wasn't playing great. He changed Seedorf and Liedmanen and got Karud and Kluivert in.
But why is your benchmark? Why is your benchmark always? This is elite. That was an elite season. This is one of the highlights of Ajax history. That's not a benchmark.
That doesn't matter. The tactical choice,
yeah,
is always a risk, especially with young players, and especially if it's a high level, because the differences are really small. So if it's just not good enough, you can collapse. And it's in my opinion, it's not one way to look at it. You cannot say it's always a risk. Yes, it is a risk, but you cannot know what a player can do under stress of his debut or something else. Look at Seedorf. One of his first games was as a 16-year-old boy in a full Kuip, and he was a boss on the midfield. You cannot imagine that, and it's not logical to put him in those kind of games in his first matches in the starter position.
Okay.
So it can work out, but
All right.
you
So
don't know.
coming back, Yaiderenko, because we went a little bit sideways and a little bit more than sideways. Coming back to the coming 8 games, coming to the question for the summer and next season. Basically, what you're saying is, apart from these games being important for how we end this season, I want to see more the players behind the players. So the ones that are not playing a lot, to have some questions answered, to know what we have to do for next season. Is that what you're saying? Yaiderenko, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for me it is.
Okay.
Because you have several problems within the squad. Bergwijn is a problem or an issue. Klaassen is an issue. Wijndal is an issue. Sanchez is an issue. And you need to solve those issues, or you need a way to work around those issues for next season.
Okay. All right. I'm going through the not the super chats, but the comments just quickly before we end up this video session. For the ones watching, thank you. You guys can still drop a comment. I will go over them. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. We will very much appreciate it. So I have here Brian Shafiq. We're going to need, that's also a good point. We're going to need new leaders in every line, defense, midfield, and up front. I mean, our captain, what will he do? Or what will be the next coach to do with Tadic? Apart from Alvarez maybe going and Timber going. So you guys don't have to react to that. If you really want to react, let me know, but I'll go over the other comments as well. Jake saying, I gave up on Bergwijn, Rens, and Wijndal. This is what happens after such a season, People just, it really affects you that way.
But Juan, look, for Rens, I at least have an excuse. But Wijndal and Bergwijn has been really disappointing.
Okay, but what is
with experience.
What is the excuse for Rens, in your opinion?
Excuse is that he's young. He doesn't have other experience than only Ajax, and he just grew himself up the ranks. But we're talking about Wijndal, that's a captain at AZ that played so many matches in the eredivisie, and that's the level he shows us at Ajax. And Bergwijn, that's a guy that played in the Premier League with Spurs, and he comes back like this.
Played.
Played. Yeah. I mean, I expected much more for such players.
So you still believe Rens is a rightful quality player for the right back position at Ajax?
I've seen great games from Rens when he started.
How many?
So I think
how many? And not only this season, but also before that. Even though he was not
my point is not that. My point is not that Rens might make it or something. I'm just saying he's younger, and he's not the guy that I relied on this season to carry us for big games. I was thinking our left side was going to be the best side.
Okay,
that's what I was thinking.
Hold on, Papi. All right. So let me go with that logic. If you don't rely on Rens on the right back, who are we relying on the right back position? Sanchez?
Huh? No, I'm just saying that when I looked at the team, when I looked at the team at the beginning of the season, I thought we had a great left. How do you say? The players on the left were really good, and they would carry us. Yeah, we had Blind, we had Bergwijn, we had Wijndal. I thought that was going to be our best side.
Okay.
Turned out they can't even carry us. So what are you expecting from Rens to do the same, and Wijndal cannot even do it with so much experience? I'm not understanding the expectations, because he's only a youth player and he's still 19.
But he's been here for quite a time, and for me, Wijndal and Bergwijn being terrible is not a explanation for Rens. I mean, we can criticize him independently. Yeah, of course we can be less harsh on him and so on. But he is he's a young player and so on. But he's been here for quite a while, and I guess he could be a squad player. But relying on him as a undisputed number one at our right back. No, not a chance. No, I mean, he always almost looks scared, and there's so much fear in him. He loses focus very easily. I just don't see it in him. Obviously, Wijndal and Bergwijn are bigger problems. I'll give you that. That's there's no argument here.
Yeah, my opinion about Rens is basically this. we've seen him play not only this season but before sometimes as well with Ten Hag. He had a few games in which he was top, really good, which made me think like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
but not a lot of games, not enough of games, exactly. So consistency at Ajax, you have to be also consistent. Even though you're a youth player, you have to earn your spot. You have to show that you can be.
I know, but I still have those flashes and images of Wrench, of a totally different Wrench, like coming in the box, being at the end of a cross, finishing, making goals, things like that. Those things I don't see anymore for him.
Wasn't that mostly as a centre back? Because he started.
No. That was under Ten Hag.
But can I ask? In my opinion, he started off as centre back. His debut and his period after that. Only when a problem arose or whatever on the right back position, then he was pushed towards that, and especially when the center was doing so well with Martinez and with Timber, that was like rock solid almost.
Didn't we play a Wrench? When was which game?
Played centre back under Shadow a couple of times.
Yeah, that wasn't that good either. So honestly, look, it's funny though, because what you're saying, Yaiderenko, is basically what I said earlier in the video sessions, that we sometimes tend to put youth players in our problem positions, but I don't know if that's a good thing to do, which, the example was Taylor.
It sometimes is. They do this in the youth. They do this on purpose. They also put younger players in higher teams just to get them developing and walk into a brick wall, if you can say it like that, and develop them themselves. My opinion on this is that Ajax is exaggerating that, because they still do this a lot within young Ajax.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is not the moment to do that. I think that's the moment that they have to work towards excelling on one position. On their
one or two. Yeah.
They want to break into Ajax 1, and you cannot do that if you're not playing your own position, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely, I agree with that. Okay, guys, I still have to go over the comments, so please don't interrupt me anymore, because otherwise you guys will start talking about, it's supposed to be 1 hour and all these kind of things. You're not a good host. I don't want to hear that. Okay, so quickly, from P, I expected more from Bergwijn, that he would carry our attack this season, but unfortunately that was not the case. Yeah, talk about it. Let's see, what else do we have? Salahuddin is a typical player, typical Ajax player. I'm sorry. He really deserves a serious chance next season. Yeah, but also on that quickly, we see him as a left back option, but at Twente he's playing more on the midfield. So if we get him, should we also consider him as a midfielder, or is that not an option? What do you guys think? Not an option?
Who?
Okay.
Well, it depends. I mean, I wouldn't want to get rid of heitinga if he used him a couple of times in the midfield. It all depends, obviously, but rather not.
Okay. I don't see him as a typical Ajax midfielder. I see him having more use as a left back. That's why I'm saying we're not going to see him.
Agreed.
And I think he could do great. I think we can see flashes of Noos back on the right back position when we see Salahuddin. So, yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, that's let's not compare, players with players. That's a lot of.
No, but I've seen him at Twente, and his passing and his even long balls were pretty accurate. Like,
I don't think the issue with him would be when he has the ball. I think he's pretty good at that. I think the issue is more defensively and also maybe physically, because he's a small player.
Yeah, but he's still fast. Like, he's not a slow player or something.
Depends on your definition of slow.
So Wijndal compared to Wijndal.
Wijndal is not slow.
I think Salahuddin is faster.
And
in mobility, like movement.
Okay,
not only,
that's different.
Like fast.
That's different. All right. Moving on. Let's see. Brian saying, but I still have a little belief in Wijndal. It's a difficult season, injury and all the stuff that's going on. Want to see him next season. All right, that's a fair point.
Why?
Why
You spent 10 millions on that guy. Why?
I think that's a sentiment
want-
because people
again.
have seen him at AZ play much better.
Yeah, but he's now at
that's the whole
Ajax and he
sentiment.
doesn't perform. So go away.
Yeah. Okay, Yaiderenko is done with Wijndal.
Yeah.
No, but it's ridiculous why some players in Holland we say get a hand held above their heads. I just look at what they perform on the pitch, and it's just not enough, especially not for 10 million.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
In my opinion.
Yeah. All right, guys. I have to move on. Sorry for that. Roy is saying about the De Ligt example. Yeah, it was against Bulgaria. So here you go. And he's saying also, De Ligt drowned because of Martin's Indy. So all right. that's
Partly true.
That's true.
De Ligt was not the only one at fault there, but that's basically the thing. What happens if someone makes a mistake? Mostly when you get a goal against, not one thing goes wrong, a couple of things go wrong. But the guy that makes the biggest mistake or is in terrible form gets all the blame almost, which is, in my opinion, is ridiculous. And what Papi's said before, those kind of talents, they're young and they need to go through those kind of mistakes to get better in the long run. And there's just not a real clean way around that.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I have to move on again. So just quickly, Alex is saying he already mentioned this also at the start of the live stream, whether we will give a reaction to the season predictions at the end of the season. We will look into that, Alex. And I guess you're a Manchester United fan because you said also then you lost all your respect for not rating. You lost your respect for Yaiderenko for not rating Ten Hag. He's gonna win us 3 trophies for United in his first season. So Yaiderenko, here you go.
Yeah, fine.
That's okay. Let me see. What else do we have? Ajax is in the house. All right.
Oh,
Juan passing the hour mark once again, and he has not even started his last question process. Here you go. You see? You see, guys? Let me see. What else do we have? Gary's in the house as well. Gary McQueen, thank you for watching. You know how I feel. The loss of Overmars and Erik Ten Hag especially was always going to happen. So what's happening now isn't a massive surprise because in that era, we were spoiled. Patience for me. Maybe that's a good final question to all of you. You guys agree with Gary on this one?
No.
Why not, Tomasz?
Because it should be a surprise that something we knew that was coming, we are so unprepared for.
Okay.
This is why I disagree wholeheartedly.
Okay. Papi?
Yeah, patience. I mean, how much patience do you want to have? Or do you want to go back to Frank de Boer football before we get out of the thing again and get back to boss football and get a glimpse of Champions League again? I mean, look, we had seasons in which we were better than the eredivisie, but not good enough for the Champions League. We had a period in which we could compete in the Champions League and we were better in the eredivisie. And I feel like we dropped a lot in one season. And I think the transfer window had something to do with it, but also if you look at the technical capabilities of our board and how they rate players and how they treat their scouts, there's a lot still for us to grow into and become a real professional club because we cannot handle another transfer window like this. It could set us back even more. And that's not the kind of patience I want to have, to be honest.
Yeah. How about your patience, Yaiderenko?
It was already gone a year ago, something like that.
Can I ask you guys?
I've got the feeling I'm repeating myself. I've said long time ago I was not too happy with all the things that Mark Overmars did. especially on the side of buying players and not using youth too much in forming a selection, which in the end resulted in a vacuum where you got terrible transfers, you got a terrible coach, and you have no one who has a clear vision on what to do. And then you remove Ten Hag and Overmars, and you get this.
Yeah.
So it's to me, it's not a surprise. It is a surprise how fast and how deep it went, because it was shocking me. And I've said for months, if not years, that we're not going in the right direction, in my opinion. And here we are. We're questioning if our youth is good enough, which has helped us out for decades. And now we need to buy players like Sanchez, because we're scared to use youth or something like that.
No, we know the reason. Yeah, but we know the reason why we bought the players that we bought last summer. We've talked about this before, and it will not be the last time we talk about it, because it's a mess on board and management level. We all know this. We're trying to sort this out.
Shit show, not a mess.
I'm sorry?
A shit show, not a mess.
Yeah. I'm trying to be polite. I'm trying to be polite, Tomasz. But
no need to.
Look, the most important thing is, apart from the fact that we have to win and we have to secure the second position at least towards the end of the season, I think that's basically the conclusion of tonight. We hope that we will get the technical director, sporting director appointed soon, because if we look back at Van der Sar's interview at Ziggo, that was almost 2 months ago, and he said within 2 months it will happen. So fingers crossed for that. And one more thing I want to say before we end the broadcast. There were a lot of questions coming in about, the organization, about what's happening behind, signing players and all these kind of things. I feel like I said at the early stages of the video, we already talked about that in the previous videos. We will come to that in the next few weeks. But today it was more about the squad, about our positioning, what we look at, if we still have confidence, and that's it. So we didn't ignore your questions. We will definitely talk about it. And for now, I just want to thank everyone, all the viewers, and also Tomasz, Yaiderenko, Papi. Are you gonna have cake? Are you gonna have cake after, Papi? Or
Dunkin' Donuts, baby.
Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, all right.
Can I conclude this?
Yeah, Ajax sponsor. Don't look like that. It's an Ajax sponsor.
That's true. Dunkin' Donuts is a sponsor. Yeah, that's very good. All right. Guys, thank you so much. Let's hope for a good result on Sunday, and we'll be back with the live stream next week. Bye, guys.